So one thing that always comes up in all of my construction projects with Pascon, but also with my Builder Elite clients, is payment schedules and which one to use and which is the right one. I'm going to do a quick video now for you and explain to you why Method A is absolute rubbish, and you should not be using Method A in any of your contracts, not only as a builder, but also as a client. And a lot of banks will tell you opposite, but I'm going to show you why it's no good. So Method A, which most people would be familiar with, is your deposit, base, frame, lockup, fix and final, and a percentage of each of those claims. So for example, if your contract value, we'll keep it nice and simple, is $1 million, your 5% deposit is 50K. And that's supposed to get you running, pay some prelims and get the job moving. Then once you get to your base stage, which is often your subfloor or your slab stage, you get another 100, frame, 150 and so on and so forth. Now the problem you're going to come up with, I'll do it from both instances. We'll focus on the builder first of all. So the problem with this method of payment is it is based off an old style of building a home. Okay, this was developed 100 years ago. Back when you built a house, it had a kitchen, family, dining, bedroom, bathroom. That's it. And it was a nice simple square. If every house was like this today, no issues doing a payment schedule like that. Zero. Because it's easily quantified, it's easy to ascertain where the costs are and to cash flow the business, the project, sorry. The problem is, no houses are like that today. Even your simple, easy jobs have big open spaces. Every bedroom has an ensuite. There's feature cladding. There's select marble. There's different floorboards and tiles and structural steel and then landscaping and all this sort of stuff that this system just simply doesn't work. And even at $1 million, you can see the values are actually quite high. Okay, so as a builder, from a builder's perspective, this is really difficult to manage because you're effectively funding the project until you hit each one of these stages. Okay, and say, in the world that we live in at the moment, your frame. We cannot get timber. And you're waiting to get your timber frame in. You've paid wages, you've paid material, you've paid all the supplies, and you can't get your frame passed because you don't have the material in at the moment, which leaves you holding a big bill and funding the project. Now, as a builder, again, imagine you've got 10 projects. So all of a sudden, you're waiting on $1.5 million to come through the door. Now, there's a lot of businesses that can't sustain that and keep the job afloat. So that's the real huge risk to a builder, is you're effectively becoming, the Bank of Pascon, and you're lending out money to all of your clients to build their house, right? Whilst you're trying to scram and get money from other jobs or from wherever it might be to get to your payment stage. Now, as a client, again, this is something that I also recommend to all of my clients and anyone that's thinking about using this, is because this is so dated, you don't want to be the last thing you want to do is put pressure on your builder, financial stress and strain as well. Because if they go under, I promise you it's going to cost you a lot more than this to get the job taken over by someone else. Now, the advantage from an owner's perspective is that, let's just say at lockup stage, you're getting $350,000. That's the claim that you have to pay. So at that stage, you would have paid your builder all that money to get to the lockup stage. If you pay that $350,000 and then your builder goes broke the very next day, you would have paid your builder more money than actual work that's been completed on site, which leaves you in a really difficult position, because if he goes broke, you now have to find someone to finish this job for $350,000. And because you've paid more than actual work that's been completed on site, that $350 is going to turn into $550 very quickly. For a couple of reasons. A, someone else has to come in and take over the job, so there's associated risk with that. And the second thing is there's just not enough money with the value of work that's completed on site. So what's the way around this? The way around it is Method B. So Method B in the contract actually shows you having a lot more stages and progress payments. So instead of this, it's still your 5% deposit, but instead of the base stage, you might have another stage in here that might be in-ground, right? And that could be, say, another 5%. Okay, so once you finish all the in-ground work, you get a 5% progress claim. Okay, then when the base stage comes, again, you could have it as a 10% claim still, right? But what the whole idea of stage B is to incorporate more progress payments throughout your build. Now, what that does to the builder is it ensures cash flow. If he's always got money, he's always going to be able to pay the trades and suppliers to keep your project moving, okay? From the owner's perspective, more stage payments mean less exposure to you. Because if he goes broke here, or here, or here, and you've got more stage payments, you know, another 10% there, another 5, another whatever it might be, 8% here, and so on and so forth, you're limiting your exposure on that build. So if your builder does go broke, touch wood, hopefully he doesn't, you'll find that you haven't actually outlaid that much money to your builder. You've outlaid enough to cover the costs on site, which then will leave you with enough money to finish the build if it ever gets down that path. Now, there is another method which is probably the best one in my opinion, in my professional opinion actually, I'm telling you it's the best method, and that's a monthly claim. So the builder only claims for work that they complete in the month. So if they do $100,000 worth of work, they invoice for 100. If they only do $20,000 worth of work, they only invoice for 20. And again, this helps ensure that from a client's perspective, they're never overpaying for work completed on site. From the builder's perspective, it ensures cash flow. So I hope that has cleared things up a little bit for you, because I get this question all the time. And not only do I get it all the time, I explain it to both clients and to builders why this method A is absolute rubbish. Now, the banks will probably tell you as well that you have to use this. You don't. Okay, if you go back to them and put pressure on them to say, no, we're not doing that, we're using method B, they will. I've never experienced a bank saying no whenever I've used a method B or a monthly claim. The one thing that they might do from a client's perspective is they might say, okay, because you're outside of this method A that we love and know and cherish, and it's easy for us to assess, you might need to employ a quantity surveyor. So a quantity surveyor on $1 million project might cost you $2.5 grand, $3 grand. It is worth every single cent if that's what it means for you to get off method A, because this is prehistoric. It doesn't reflect what needs to happen on a construction site or contract, and it needs to be gotten rid of. So use method B whenever you can, or monthly claims.